Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. It's weird how my hair is so gray and then so red back here. I think I dyed it. God, this is like, what is this? It's like 8 years ago. Man, that's about right. 8 years ago, my hair wasn't gray yet. That's strange. Anyway, what it is, yo? What it do? What up, though? Oh boy, it's an interesting day today, don't you think? It's a bit of a snowstorm. You know, it always sucks driving in a snowstorm, and it's not because of me. I'm always worried about other people, especially the ladies. You can't drive. Oh. I'm gonna start buying fuck Israel, end Israel, like anti-Israel t-shirts, and that's all I'm gonna wear. I need to just make them. I wish I knew how to make them, or I knew somebody that could make t-shirts. Because I'd be making all kinds of t-shirts. And we'd have them for sale at the website, www.the-bilderberg.com. Free downloads, free music. Go check it out. I don't ask you for donations. I ask you to go get something for free. Go get some more for me. I already give you hours worth of entertainment. I'm now going to give you hours worth of music for free. Go get it. It's free. The link will be in the description after the fact. Seems like if I put it in beforehand, it seems to shut down my videos. So, it is what it is. But, I would walk around with a camera on all day if that was the case, because I would just love to see how people responded to that. And I would love for people to come up and say some shit to me over it. I don't like your t-shirt. Why don't you like Israel? And I'd look at them right in the face and go, fuck Israel. Disgusting, sick people. You know, just crazy. Just fucking disgusting. Yesterday was such an interesting day. You know, the whole Chicago tunnels network, all that shit. Like, it's such a testament to the narratives that you'll believe for no reason. Like, you believe what they say, and you have no reason to believe what they say. They do nothing but lie. And like, we all know it. I mean, I don't know. I find it fascinating. You know, how everybody knows Jesus and all that shit isn't real. You know it's not real. Even your most diehard Christians know Jesus and God and shit isn't real. They want it to be real, but they know it's not. And the proof is in the lives they live. Because if you honestly believed in hell, and you thought that there was any chance that you could go there, you would do everything you could possibly do not to. And the fact that the book gives you a bunch of rules you're supposed to follow by, or else you go to hell, and you break those rules. I mean, you know, every one of you that could, you know, there are some uggos out there, but every one of you that could have sex before you were married did. You all did. There's no virgins on here unless you're like 13. And it wasn't like it was a question, a secret, you know. There was confusion or what. You know, your book flat out says you're not allowed to have sex before marriage. You're not even really supposed to be having sex for anything other than procreation. And yet, you know, you all do it. Everybody believes what's convenient for them. The Bible fucking says, you know, don't eat meat. Yep, I've been at it all night. That's for sure. This 5-minute video. Oh, I swear. Somebody typed that out. Thought that was... I'm gonna get him. Type. It's just fascinating. But it's like, you know, again, it all comes down to what you want to believe. You literally have like, you have no reason to believe anything. Oh, you saw me yesterday, so you just assumed if you saw me yesterday, that means I've been going all night? Do you understand that if you saw me yesterday, there's a good chance that I did this yesterday, and then you see it today, so that means I'm doing it today? Like, are you kidding me right now? You should probably stop. You're not going to make this one work out. But like I said, people believe what they want. Like that. That's a great example. There's no, like, that makes no sense. Well, I saw you yesterday, and now I see you today, so that means I think you were going all night. Why would, what? I don't, nobody's ever done that before. The thousands and thousands of people that have seen my feeds, nobody's ever done that before. But this guy, he wants to see it that way, so he does. And his brain doesn't say, ding, 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 hey, that's stupid, don't say it. He's like, no, I'm going to say that. That makes sense. Like, that's fucking strange. But that explains everything. That explains, you know, that explains why there's still any religious control over anything. That explains why people believe in the James Webb Space Telescope and the Big Bang Theory and just all that shit. We believe what we want in the moment, whatever it may be. It's what we want. Facts don't matter. Opinions. It's all about if the person or the information that we are being presented with is sexy enough. And we want to believe it, we will. It doesn't even have to be sexy, really. I mean, the Bible and shit is stupid, right? It's all stupid. Yep, it makes sense because meth is, yep, that's what it must be. Never mind that the time on the top of the video says 8 minutes. Never mind that, smart guy. And like I said, this guy should have quit. He's just digging the hole deeper, but he's too dumb to see it. And we're only dumb because that's how we've been engineered. We've been purposefully made to be the stupidest version of ourselves possible. And people will defend it, you know, like it's a good thing. People defend their stupidity, you know. Israel, Palestine attacks Israel just as much as Israel attacks Palestine. Like, what are you talking about? And then when said, okay, prove it, or when Doofus says he's going to prove it, and he comes back with, look, here's some articles showing that POWs are being held in Ukraine, American POWs, and it's like, what? What are you talking about, dude? Oh, are we going to get a bunch of dumb J's coming in here saying a bunch of dumb J nonsense because they can't actually come up with anything else? No doubt. Like, I appreciate it so much. I just can't even tell you. I appreciate the fact that so many people are so stupid and willing to prove it. You know, they are dead set on proving how stupid they are. And my videos wouldn't nearly be as well-rounded, as full without these idiots. And I just appreciate it. It's amazing. It really is amazing. You know, I would never, like, let's say, a bunch of stockbrokers are having a conversation, right? And they're talking about, well, the Dow did this and the whatever. the NASDAQ did that and the who's a jigga bizza bizza and all this shit. They're talking about all this stuff. I'm not going to walk into the conversation and be like, well, I like stocks too, but you guys are dumb. Stop using words and talking about stuff that I don't know. Talk about other stuff because I'm too stupid to get involved in this conversation. Like, I would never do that. You know, I might sit and listen and try to learn something. Bad. Oh, shit. Huh?
In the free group, the ladies, I have to go to a lady's house and pick something up.
Cool. Yes, I'm just self-projecting. Yeah. Because I'm doing the video, and I'm also trolling myself. The stupidity. Again, I mean, I don't understand why people don't just come in here and tell me what I'm wrong about. Why wouldn't that be the most effective form of trolling? To make me look dumb because the things I'm saying are wrong, and you know that, and you're able to, fascinating. Other than, but it makes sense. If we're talking about dumb Jays and they're, dumb bots and team Jorge and shit like that, that makes sense, These J pedos are fucking stupid. And they're not all pedos, don't get me wrong. They all support pedophilia, no doubt about it. But these dumb Jays are all dumb. They're really, really fucking stupid. And as dumb as they are, the funny part is, as dumb as they are, Christians are actually the dumbest. How you can be convinced that it could, like, this is, I say this every day, but it's fascinating. You are convinced that a completely different religion, who also happens to be the bad guys in your religion, your cult, they're the guy. That's not Satan. They're the people that killed your Jesus. They are the bad guys, and they look down on you. Yes.
So, explain that.
Right. Why you would not be what Jesus was. Instead,
why would other Jews kill a fellow Jew?
Because Jesus was like me. Jesus was saying things like I am, and he was calling out the government, and he was calling out, the Jews that run the show. He was calling them out. So, there's that. Why did I just see a girl with big tits trying to jump over some fucking horse jumps? How much meth have you injected today? Oh, yes, lots of meth injections. Look at those track marks. Yeah, you can.
Can?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the difference between smoking it and injecting it? Like, what would be the...
Smoking it, when you put fire to anything, you burn a portion of it. Like,
so you don't get as high if you
no,
smoke it
inject
versus...
just like with anything. If you inject it into your bloodstream,
to make it liquid,
you cure all that. You take out the impurities, but you're not like, when you inject it, you get it all. When you're smoking it, they're still burning, and your body, I mean, you can only hold it for so long before you exhale, and you're not going to get it all. when you inject it, just like with any drug, you get all of it.
And then does it last longer? Like
I can't
totally
imagine it would. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know like it's all
okay, so
about
what's the difference between snorting it then?
it's all about bioavailability, which is how your body processes the thing. And our bodies process, like, even opiates. Our bodies process different opiates differently. So like
I can't
some
take
pills, you get the most from them by snorting them, whereas some pills you would get the most from it by taking it and letting it do its thing, and some pills you get the most from it by plugging it, and some some the injection method. But it's all about bioavailability. And
to
smoking
snort
it
it. Why
is
would you smoke it?
snorting it is, I mean, it's like why with COVID, for the first time in the history of my life, they were checking for the most contagious, dangerous thing in the world by sticking a Q-tip way up your fucking nose and scraping around inside. I mean, you would think all you'd have to do with COVID is be like, and they could get a good sip. But no, they had to scrape all inside. Well, it also just happens to be that the nasal passages, and membranes in your nasal passages are super duper thin. That's why people snort things, because it's close to shooting it. It's not the same, but it's close. And so it goes directly into your bloodstream. It's a way to get directly into your bloodstream. If you smoke it, you have to burn it. It has to go into your lungs, then it has to process through your lungs, and blah, 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 blah.
Well, like cocaine, you snort it and you get, the super fucking high from it. If you put it in a joint and smoke it, it doesn't really do anything.
Well, it does.
So is meth the same?
No. But meth and coke are vastly different.
I get that. Chemically.
Coke is natural. Coke is a natural thing. It's a product of a coca leaf. Meth is like some shit that people made in a fish tank. And you do some really good coke, and you're like, fuck yeah, I feel great. You do some meth, and you're like, and like, no.
Is there a main method to do meth? Like, the main method for coke is snorting it. You can smoke it, you can this, you can
if you
that,
shoot coke, it gets you way higher.
So what's like
I saw a guy shoot coke in his neck once, driving down the freeway in Virginia. He fucking pulled his hair back, like all his veins were he couldn't get anything, so he fucking popped his neck vein. Popped he cooked up some coke and shot that shit in his neck. That was the day before I left Virginia.
But like, what is the preferred method of meth? Is it taking the
I don't think there's a preferred. I think it's a progression. People start with a little bump. A little bump, and then you should try this. Or they start with the smoke. Either way, but eventually you lead to shooting, because that's what gives you the best bang for the buck. It's crazy. That's why I never shot drugs. I knew I would like that shit way too much and would never come down. I would have died. If I mean, like, seriously, if I find out I'm terminal, I'm gonna die, one of the experiences I'm gonna have before I die is shooting up heroin, because I want to know. I want to know what that, what all the musicians talk about, and what is so good that you're willing to stick needles in your body and, suck dicks and all that kind of shit for it. Like, that must be good. It must be fucking good. That's, I don't know. I knew myself too well. It's just like with everything. Like, things are only hard to do the first time. Watch Killers. Killers say it. The first one is what sticks with you and all that stuff. But it's only hard to do something the first time.
Yeah, but like, that first time you're supposed to get violently ill and all this type of shit. Like, who would want to do that again?
Well, I think a lot of times you don't get violently ill, especially if you're a seasoned vet and you finally decide to shoot. But even if you do, you shoot, you boot, and then you're fucking in La La Land. Like it's not like it you know, you take your pill or you snort or whatever, and then you puke and you get rid of a lot of it. Not when you shoot it. It's still there.
Ill means that
You're not getting violently
trying to
ill.
get rid of it.
You don't get violently ill. You just throw up.
your body's trying to get rid of it. That should be
Yeah.
the sign.
I mean, it should be, but that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, something is so good that people are willing to override that shit. And that, again, that only happens the first time or two, I guess. I don't know. It's like when you smoke weed for the first time, you don't really get high. You know? It's like, well, I smoked this, it didn't do anything. Why would I do it again? Because you want to do it. You want that feeling. And I know I didn't get high the first time I smoked weed. First time I smoked weed was the day OJ got chased. And I don't even know, like, I think about it as like, we're like 16, 17, something like that. And this girl, Wendy, I was at a buddy's house in Canton. I lived in Northville at the time, but I was at my buddy's house in Canton. And his neighbor was this super hot girl, Wendy. And like Wendy would sit out in her bikini all the time. And like Wendy loved the attention. And I can't remember how, but I think my buddy snagged, but it was like some weed was sitting on like a counter or something. So he took like a joint worth off. But it was like, if I remember correctly, it was some boo-boo schwa like
Mexican brick weed.
it was definitely brick, but it was like real bad Mexican brick weed. And so we went back to his house and we were all like excited and like we didn't know what to do. And so I think my buddy smoked cigarettes, or maybe we all smoked cigarettes. Yeah, no, we all smoked cigarettes at the time. So he took a cigarette and busted it open and then tried to re-roll it with the cigarette paper. And we were like it was like the worst joint you've ever seen. These fucking 15, 16-year-olds, 16, 17-year-olds sitting there trying to smoke this fucking joint. Probably no wonder I didn't get high. I mean, I'm sure I felt something. I just didn't know what it was. And that was
You didn't get really sick.
No, but the first time I got stoned, I mean, the first time you get... So the next time I smoked, I was at the Jets house. And I was like, well, you know, I had already smoked it and it wasn't like that big a deal. I think I had smoked it again a different time and gotten a little high from it that time. But then I went to the Jets and we smoked, and they lived off of 7 Mile. And so they had the house, and then it had a way back, you know, big woods and shit back there. And they had their little fort spot that when they were kids they used to play. And we were out there. And mind you, they're identical twins. They don't necessarily look exactly alike, but they look exactly alike. You know, one is better looking than the other one. That's about it. But they still look exactly the same.
I imagine it's his brother that was better looking.
Obviously.
Well, his face didn't look as deformed when he was young.
Right, but still. So I remember smoking. I remember hitting it and holding it and exhaling and being like, I think this is kicking in. And looking up. And if you ever saw the movie, what's that fucking movie with that kid that's really smart?
Little Man Tate.
Little Man Tate, there you go. Look at that girl. And he's riding through the forest, and like he can see the trees, and he's like counting the leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what the fuck I was seeing. And I was just looking like, oh my God, what is going on? And Pat, he just starts laughing, like hysterically laughing, and he's going, I'm a farmer, and he's running around, and it was just so funny. Um, but we were walking back up to the house, and I was walking, and I just remember it being like, what is going on? And Pat came running by, and he like pushed me, and I just was like, oh, and I like flew, and I was like, wow, and I'm like, I'm in the air, and I'm like, what's going on? Look, it took like 5 minutes for me to hit the ground, and I hit the ground, and we're all just laughing, and we went in the house.
Not a smart idea.
And his parents weren't home yet, and it's the first time I've ever heard Dark Side of the Wall, or Dark Side of the Moon. No, it was the wall. He put on the wall. And I remember just standing in front of, like, literally the speaker's right there, and I'm just standing there, just going through the wall, and the helicopter comes on. I start looking out the window thinking there's a helicopter. Like, it was so funny. And then his dad came home, and his dad was an asshole. And like, I just can't. His dad comes home to his 2 twin boys and their halfie friend, and we're listening to The Wall really, really loud, and we're all, he had to know.
Oh, he knew. Did they have other kids, or
No.
just those?
So
So no siblings to tell on.
no, so they got in trouble, and then I had to get a ride home.
He didn't drive you home?
No, he did, but I was, they're at like 7 in Chubb, and I live in Northfield, like I live in Park Place. So I got to sit in the car with his dad the whole time, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God.
Was he the type, like, was he going to tell your mom?
No, he didn't tell. Well, even if he told my mom, I can't imagine anything would have happened.
Karen's mom called all our mothers. So.
Yeah. No. Oh, no.
Well, no, she called us first and said, you better call your moms right now so you can talk to them first, because I am calling them. And she did call them, but she gave us the chance to call them first.
I mean, I probably would. I'm very open and honest with my kids. And I let them, like, don't do this. This is stupid. You don't want to end up here, do you? Like, I know everybody's going to want you to do it, and I know there are people that are capable of doing it and succeeding and blah, blah, blah. But they have a much better chance of succeeding if they don't. And that's the nitty gritties of it. And I'm not optimistic.
After that?
I don't know. Fuck if I remember. I doubt it. I mean, at this point, we're 16, 17 years old. Like, I remember one time I was like 16, I was like 17, maybe 18. And I was sick. And my friends, like, sick, like, had a cold, right? And my friends came over and wanted me to go out. And my mom was like, you are grounded. And I was like, what? I don't even remember the last time I was grounded. And she's like, well, you were grounded. You're sick. You're not going anywhere. You're grounded. And that was it. It wasn't like a real, but she was just, I knew what she was doing. But I don't know that I can't remember the last time I was actually grounded. My mom couldn't do that shit. She wasn't home. Right. She was a working single mother. And I wish she was still alive and I could talk to her about it, because I have more of an understanding, more of an appreciation for what she did and what she went through. And, she had her issues, and she but who wouldn't? When I look at 20-year-olds today, to think like a 20-year-old with a kid, a happy kid, in a time when that shit's not okay. Like, that had to be difficult. Difficult to say the least. Dealing with the schools and the open. How do you, as a white woman, and you're seeing this racism towards your child, but what can you do? You know, and she wasn't. She was raised in the Sabuda house. She wasn't given the tools necessary to cope with life the way she needed to. Not to mention, she was assaulted, violently assaulted, raped by 2 guys. Like, that's gonna fuck up anybody. You know, what can you do? Like, the fact that she was able to pull out of that and still maintain a good job, keep us in Northville, that's impressive. I've seen firsthand how assault can affect people. And she didn't have that. She literally had to like get up the next day and go to work or whatever, maybe on Monday and go to work. And she had a child. She couldn't tell what happened, and she had to play like nothing, like everything was fine. That's some fucked up shit. You would have been aborted today. Yeah, that's what would have happened. So stupid. But it's, you know, again, she's just a, she was just a dumb girl. I mean, my mom was one of the smartest people I knew. Like, mentality, she was really fucking smart. But she was also really broken. I mean, you know, what's it like growing up knowing your Project Paperclip? That's got to be fucked up. Being told that, you know, we are American, we don't speak German, we don't talk about any of that. We're American. We have spaghetti on Wednesdays, pork chops on Thursdays. You know, we are American. That's it. Don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't, you know. It's strange. It's got to be difficult. You know, my grandfather was overbearing and he was an asshole. He caused a lot of problems. My grandfather used to they'd do their dinners and he'd say something like, "Oh, hey, Mark, did you ever get that thing back that Henry borrowed?" And it, you know, just to start the fights. Like, he would do that just to see how they would handle it. And again, this is a man who either survived a concentration camp or was Project Paperclip, Operation Paperclip. Either or, how fucked up did he have to be in his head? I mean, I just, you know, I know this stuff in my 30s, 40s. I can't imagine, like, if I knew the Holocaust thing was a lie during my school days and in a time where there's no internet or anything like that.
Well, and when your grandfather was still alive, because that would have been a huge problem.
What?
Had you gone to your
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he would have been much more receptive of it. I think he would have, you know, he was a champion of intelligence. He didn't care like who it offended. For him, it was like intelligence is key. The smartest guy gets the head of the table. The smartest guy gets the biggest piece of chicken. It's not about the toughest guy. You know, the smart guy can hire somebody to beat up the tough guy, you know?
Which is so crazy, because at the end of the day, neither of which can you control. You can't control how smart you're born or how tough you're born.
Well,
it's genetics.
I think intelligence, I mean, I think all of it is, you can work at it. I think there are people that are going to be inherently dumb who don't want to be and can make themselves smarter than the other dumb people that are around them. But at the same time, you know, yes, genetics has a lot to do with it. It has to. I mean, I hate to say it, but look at your fucking sister. You know, I mean, it's you, the two of you and your brother who have
My dad.
Your dad, because it's not your mom, right?
I mean, yeah,
Compared
he
to,
did, but
right,
he was extremely intelligent,
yeah,
but not like my dad.
right. And then you say, okay, so then now we have mom and stepdad, and
Totally different gene pool.
totally different, and not a gene pool known to be
Intelligent.
super smart. You know, they were farm boys,
Farmers.
And they're not even gonna be offended by it.
No.
You know, like my stepdad, I have all the respect in the world for him.
He's a great man.
You know, or my father-in-law, sorry. All the respect in the world for him. Very capable, very intelligent in ways, no doubt about it. You know, the last thing you want to do is try to haggle with him, because you'll lose, and you'll walk away from it being like, "What the fuck just happened?" He's good like that. He's really, really, he's good like. But like as far as not just book smarts, but like seeing the big picture goes, he doesn't. He willfully believes in God. He wants to believe that. He doesn't want to question that at all.
I think a lot of that mentality comes from like adoration for your parents, whether it's your mom or your dad.
Adoration, fear.
You know, that generation was all very educated into religion. So, you know, then they have all these kids, and whether the kids like logically believe it or not, they see their parents' feelings towards it, and they love their parents
to some degree, but
I think there is that.
They also didn't have the other opportunity.
Right.
You know, this generation with the internet, it's just gonna be different. You can want your kid to be whatever they want, is whatever you want. As soon as they go looking it up for themselves and they start, you know, that wasn't something that he had the opportunity to do.
This is when I saw this, it really highlights the difference in society. I was really surprised to see this, but pleasantly. Hold on, she posted this morning.
Yes, my mom was just a dumb girl and was one of the smartest people I've ever known. It's funny that stupid people don't understand what's being said. And again, if you're desperate, that's what you're going to want to do. Just a dumb girl is who you've all been made to be. You know? Just a dumb girl is thinking that you're in competition with men. You know? Just a dumb girl is thinking you should wear makeup and, you know, thinking that, I don't know. There's lots of reasons, you know, trusting dudes, falling for dudes and their bullshit. The guys my mom used to bring home, this one guy, his name was Will. Will was so slimy and gross, I never understood what the fuck it was. Like, I hated that guy. There was another guy, his name was Mark Levette. I wonder where Mark Levette is. Mark Levette, and he was like way younger than my mom. And he came from money. And he was, what would like Bartolone, I think that's Italian. I think he was Italian. But like, he was an asshole. You know, he was a good looking guy who was this asshole. I remember one time, like, to Mark Levette.
Levette is French.
I don't know. But one time his like, as like a goodwill, you know, to build the relationship. I don't know where the fuck my mom was or why it worked out that way. I think my mom was like in Florida or something, and I can't remember how that one worked out. But I skipped school, and him and I went to the beach or to the zoo that day.
He took you to the zoo?
Yeah, and it was just.
Nowadays, somebody does that, and they're like, "Oh, pedophile!"
Nobody would. Why would anybody know? But he was. We just didn't like each other. Our personalities just clashed. Like, he was a young guy that wanted to fuck my mom. Like, he didn't want to be my dad. It was just a situation he got put in, or he put himself into. But still, like that was part of the fucking my mom part. But like my mom, I never like they were always douchebags. And my mom, you know, that dumb girl in her finding douchebags, you know, that's that program. You know, and you see like how my mom's generation and the generations before that were raised, like the TV that they used to show them. Hang on. You know, you watch all those old TV shows like the Honeymooners, and you see how like, you know, how like the funniest the longest lasting like catchphrase funny joke from the Honeymooners is that if Alice keeps talking, he's gonna punch her in the mouth so hard she's gonna go to the moon. That was the funny joke. You know, Good Times. There was an episode of Good Times where there was a bad kid in the neighborhood who was picking on Michael, and so instead of fighting him, somehow Michael convinced the kid to come over to his house to study to help get his grades up because that would make him feel less dumb, so he lashed out less or something. I'm not really sure how the narrative went, but the kid comes home and, like, you know, he's got his jive attitude. I don't have to listen to no one, Jack. And at some point, James, the father, has enough of his shit, grabs him by the arm and takes him in the back room while taking off his belt because he's going to go spank him. And the crowd's like, yay! Like, and then it goes to commercial. And they come back and they're talking and they're like, man, you know, I wonder what he's going to get. Well, Dad has 3 types of spanking. There's this one, and then the whole enchilada or something like that. And so then the door opens and he comes out and he's walking like this and he's rubbing his butt and he goes to sit down and he oh, and JJ goes, oh, looks like he got the whole enchilada, and like ha 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 ha. Like it's so crazy to me how in season 5, Esther Roll, the mom, she left the show because she was so mad at the fact that that you know, because well, so they wrote James, the dad, off the show because he constantly had an issue with what the dumb. So it's crazy to me how Norman Lear is portrayed as this like brilliant, progressive, you know, all inclusive, you know, comedy genius. He gave us all those shows like Good Times and All in the Family and just all kinds of shit like that. And I just think, like, what, are you kidding me? Why are shows made by Jays, created by Jays, have a completely J writing staff, all J producers, all that shit? Like how could rich J kids know what it's like to grow up black in the projects? And so that's you know, it's those same people that gave us our history of, you know, soldiers getting in a line and running towards each other. Pew pew pew. You know, it's people who, it's the bag of sand. It's people who don't know what a titty feels like talking about they feel like bags of sand. But it's like these shows are just Jays making fun of everybody. All in the Family, other than Carol O'Connor, was all Jays. You know, Edith is a J, Gloria's a J. Meathead's a J. And then when the show reboots and it's Archie Bunker's place, he now has an openly J niece. I think it's his niece, but he's like the guardian. Her parents aren't in the picture, so he's her guardian. And then his business partner is a J. And these shows are not these progressive shows. These shows are creating stereotypes, and they're J's making fun of everyone. Like the whole redneck personality. I know we always focus on how, niggas with attitude and black people this. They did the same thing to you white people, and you just don't know about it. You just don't realize it. They gave you shows like the Beverly Hillbillies, all J's. They gave you shows like one of the longest running sketch comedy, one of the longest running TV shows of all time was Hee Haw. And Hee Haw is mostly J's pretending to be ignorant, stupid, hillbilly white people. If you go look at like old footage, old interviews with Southern people and shit, they're not the rednecks that they are now. Yes, they might have had a slight Southern accent, but they was always polite and, Or you had the, may I borrow a dollar from you? Like those Carolina Southern people that are like uppity. But like, it was never like, hey y'all wants to go down to the mud hole and go get us and go on the cement pond. They called it the cement pond. Why would they call it the cement pond? That's so stupid. Nobody was like, hey, dude, it's a pool. Oh, okay, cool. We're smart enough to change what we're saying. It's a pool now. They didn't know what a pool was. They didn't have a pool. The only water they ever heard of before was a pond, so it must be a cement pond. Why wasn't it a cement lake? It's all about making us into the stupid goyim that are easy to control. That we are. We fight to be that way. If I say I don't believe the slavery narrative, you know who's going to get more mad at me than anyone else? Black people. If I say I don't believe that the Native American genocide myth, you know who's going to be mad at me more than anyone else? Native Americans and white people. Jimmy from the psychic ward. The psychic ward? Why would the psychic ward be looking for me? The psychic ward? I mean, if he's looking for it, he should be able to find me if he's from the psychic ward. Oh, thank you. Thank you for proving the stupidity I'm talking about. God damn. Like, it's amazing. Here we got Philippe Cousteau is talking about plants. Again, you all believe that trees make oxygen. They tell you that and you go, yeah. Trees, we breathe out carbon dioxide. The trees breathe in the carbon dioxide and they breathe out the air. They breathe out the oxygen. What? Hey, why isn't it harder to breathe in the wintertime? I mean, what are you talking about? Have any of you ever seen a tree give off oxygen before? Do you know it for sure? Like you could say, no, fuck yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, well, you could put a plant in a bottle and you can close it up and that plant will keep growing in the ecostructure and blah blah. Yeah, okay, well, that doesn't explain anything. I mean, by your logic, if I'm in an airtight room, as long as I have a few plants in there, we can just keep that thing going for a long time. Single or double wide? I thought we're not going basement anymore. So, yeah, we must have that trailer in the middle of the neighborhood. 2-story trailer. 2-story double wide. Yeah, that's us. I love when people say shit that is so easy to debunk that all I got to do is look out the window. Because it just completely ruins any credibility they have from here on out. Obviously, this person is willing to say stupid things just to get attention. So, at this point, everything they say is probably just stupid shit to get attention. You know, it's weird. I don't look up the Israel news like I used to all the time. But it's because I was, when I used to look it up, it's because I was trying to tell you that what's happening now is about to happen. And I was looking for clues, and I was showing you how they're gearing up to do this. And now that it's happening, it's like, what do I need to read about it for? Right? Like what, it's there. It's there's no denying it anymore. And the dumb Jays never try to deny it, right? They can't. And it doesn't okay, so I'm super poor. I beat my wife. I smoke meth, smoke crack, drink all the time.
Live in a basement.
Live in a basement. That's also a double wide.
Double wides and basements?
Yeah, double wide basement. What else? Hit my children, kick my dog. I don't know what else. Whatever else you can throw at me, okay? Does that override the fact that the Jays control the world and are committing genocide and hate you and think that, and have plans to kill you and all that stuff? Like, is that really, does that override the fact that we live in this pedo system where the Jays, again, and refuse to fix the pedo problem? Hey, think about it. That's not a difficult problem to fix. Right? Instead of it being like, okay, so every time a report or something comes out, there's an actual investigation. And if the investigation finds something, we kill you. How long do you think that's gonna, we're gonna get rid of a lot of people. I get it. And I don't care. Like, nothing you do is worth you violating children. If you figured out the cure for cancer, well, then it's something that can easily be figured out. So let's kill you and figure it out. We'll use your research and all that shit. Like, I don't understand why it's a problem that seems to, progress so much. Don't bathe. Well, I'm not a J. I mean, my hair's wet from bathing already. It's too late. Yeah, no. Jays are the famous ones for not bathing. That's why they stink so bad. They fucking stink, man. Jesus Christ. Hey, I'm going to wear a wool penguin suit in the middle of the summer and not have any sort of deodorant or shower capabilities. Can you just, ugh. Hairy little trolls. Honestly, I feel bad for the women. Brainwashed into that cult, not understanding that they can't walk away from that shit. Putting up with the horrible treatment they put up with. Like, can you imagine? Because, Greg's mom had to do this. Can you imagine if when you got with Greg, he was like, all right, well, once a month, you got to go to the mikvah, get cleaned out.
No, she didn't have to do that. David, he was raised Orthodox too, but his dad died really young, like when he was younger, before I knew him, of course. And so that his mom relaxed on some of the Orthodox Jew rules.
Well, she did though at one point, I'm
by
sure.
the time, Bubby, at one point, yeah.
Right. Right. When he was alive, she did.
Bubby probably went through all that.
Right.
But, so then when he met Joan, he didn't, he wasn't as strict about it all. So she didn't have to do all that. And
I'm sure there was more to it than you might know.
No,
I'm sure she had to do it sometimes. Maybe not every time.
You have to remember, too, the other Jewish women didn't accept her. They didn't like her. She was an outsider. She shouldn't have married their rich man. And
Right.
so she was...
But I'm just saying, as far as they go, like, they're going to think that you're disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
You're disgusting. Your vagina is toxic. The baby passes through that shit. I'm not touching it. I wonder how that works. Do the fathers ignore their babies for the first 7 days?
I
That seems like that's how it would be.
I mean, she had to do all the caring of the baby they had together. They had the one child.
Oh, of course. Of course. But would you really want him to?
Well, and plus it was a girl.
Right. Gross.
Right.
I don't know.
He would actually like hug her and stuff like that, where he never did that with the two boys that were not his. He was never showed them any warmth or affection. It was.
Pro is the reincarnation of Hitler.
Who? The reincarnation of who?
Hitler.
Wow, that couldn't have been far more
Oh.
opposite character.
Yeah, you know I'm not a J, right?
And you're not 4 feet tall.
Not 4 feet tall, and I'm not an actor hired by the system to put on a show.
And according to what we were taught in school, Hitler wanted everybody to die except for the Aryan race. So he wasn't like against any one specific. Yeah, I guess he tried saying he hated the Jews.
No, he did. No, no. Hitler was a proponent of anti-Semitism. That was the narrative that he was supposed. He had to represent anti-Semitism in its. If they're gonna make it the worst thing ever, he has to be that. So he was talking about Semitism. He was opposing the Semitism, and really, what people don't understand is that it started with the Polacks, with the Polish, part Polish, just so we know. But the Poles had German people had German people being held prisoner illegally, and Hitler kept saying, give us our prisoners. We don't want to do this. We don't want to fight. We don't want to fight. Give us back our people. And they wouldn't do it. So that's where the narrative sort of starts. But it's, you're not allowed to you're not even allowed to, if it's real, why aren't you allowed to even question it? As fake as gravity and space. Gravity is not, you are so stupid if you believe in gravity. You're just dumb. I don't know why, you believe there's a force pulling everything down towards the center of the earth. And you have to believe that gravity is see, this is where I'm going to start saying smart things and debunking your thing, and you're going to just go, duh, right? Because you don't actually have the same ammunition in reverse. You just believe what you're told to believe. But the idea that gravity would exist, gravity would have to be the most intelligent force in the world. Because gravity knows exactly how much pressure to put on water, billions and trillions and quadrillions and jajillions and fulfillions of pounds of water that is on a spinning ball, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at its equator. Gravity knows to hold that water there, but also knows to let me jump if I want to. Oh, guy's gonna jump. Like, it just shows your stupidity. Well, Isaac Newton says that if a cannonball is shot from a high enough point, like, the idea that the cannonball comes down to the earth because of gravity. Are you really that stupid? Are you really that stupid? The cannonball, the 20-pound, whatever it is, 10-pound cannonball, falls to the earth because the force is pulling it down. Not because it's a 10-pound cannonball. And when it's shot, it's not dependent on the force used to shoot it, the angle it's shot at, and all that. It's the gravity that pulls the cannonball down. It's not when the force runs out. You know, the oomph runs out of oomph. That's not what brings it down, combined with its weight. It's just gravity. I just love, trust the science, they tell you, and people fall for it. Well, you have dumbasses like Naomi who want to believe it. You know, they are fucking stupid. Then why do all things fall at the exact same rate no matter the size or density? That's not true. That's not true. If I drop a lighter and I drop a feather, guess which one's going to hit the ground first? But, you know, again, you guys want to see me disprove gravity? This is my favorite one. Ready? Oh, look. No force is pulling my hair back down. My hair is defying gravity. Right? Oh, wait, it's the static. So again, gravity goes, hey, I know we're holding that water to that spinning ball, but guy's picking up his hair, so lighten up a little bit.
I mean, this is a big chunk of hair. That's a big
Why
chunk
isn't the
of
force
hair.
pulling her hair down? Shouldn't it be being pulled down? Your hair just oily, it says. My hair just oily. So that means it stands up? This hair is oily? Like, if anything, doesn't this hair look dry? Does my hair look oily?
No.
Doesn't oily hair look wet?
Yes.
If my hair was oily, it'd probably be more likely to fall back down, right? Because there's all sorts of oil pulling that hair, weight pulling that hair down, right? Does everything sink in water? Mostly? No. Everything does not sink in water. Jesus Christ.
No, one of my sons sinks and one of my sons floats.
Time to shave your head, stop looking away, and educate yourself for once in your life. Right. Isn't it funny how people can say that shit, but they can't say what I'm wrong about? Come on, super educated person. Why isn't anybody just debunking what I'm saying? Explain to me how it's the force of gravity pulling the cannonball down, not the weight of the cannonball and the force used to launch it at whatever angle it's launched at. Please explain that to me. You are never right. I'm right enough for you to watch me every day, you clown. Of course weight has a factor. Of course. Everyone point and laugh. Right, because that's what the good people do. Let's just say I was wrong and I was mistaken and all. That's what you point and laugh You don't try to educate because you're a good person. You're a good troll. I swear, these dumb Jays are they're so stupid. This is why they stopped talking on my Facebook page. Eventually they stopped talking. When they realize that everything they say actually benefits me, and I can use everything they say to my advantage and all that, they start to like shut the fuck up because they're just so stupid. I mean, it's insane. Oh, the ball and a feather would fall at the same rate at the same time if gravity wasn't real. What? A bowling ball and a feather would fall? I swear. Are you guys like, are you dumb kids? Is that what it is? I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing how arrogantly ignorant everybody is. Because again, if they were smart, they'd say it. If they had anything intelligent, like obviously they're motivated to say something. And nobody wants to say something that's going to get used against them or thrown back in their face and make them look stupid. So if they could say something reasonable, they absolutely would. But instead, you just get this dumb fucking nonsense. And they acting like, well, yeah, well, I just looked into it yesterday, and I, I'm a big follower of the James Webb Space Telescope, so I know all about it. You don't know anything. Most of you are speaking from the point of, you barely remember what you were forced to learn in high school. And when you're forced to learn something, you don't learn it nearly as effectively as when you want to learn it. But, none of you fucking looked into space recently. None of you have looked up gravity, looked into how all of that shit, what the official narratives are, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's why you don't say anything that actually matters. That's why it's all just clown show bullshit. And then people wonder why I ignore the comments. I mean, what's the point? There's no challenge here. I personally, I despise the person that picks on the special kid. Right? I despise people that punch down. If you're somebody that punches down, you're just, it's weak. And so when it comes to a lot of these clowns, I honestly feel bad. What am I sit here and keep punching down on these guys? These guys aren't on my level. They're nowhere near anything I do. And because I'm so just amazing to them, all they want is just please let me be the person he focuses on. Please let me get some attention. Because they don't have it anybody. They don't. It's not like they have a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend or whatever that they can get off the trolling and go snuggle up with and watch TV or whatever. They're lonely fucking weird losers. And they're dumb. I would give anything to have professors, rabbis especially. Oh, I would give anything to have a rabbi come through here and actually, supposedly, I'm assuming he can have an intelligent conversation. He knows his shit better than these idiots do. A priest, whatever it is. I would love to hear from, a scientist. Well, I'm a scientist. And that actually, not just somebody saying that they're a scientist or but somebody that can actually prove it because, they can respond, not like a dumb Jay. Yep, absolutely. We love smoking crack blunts around here. Would you like to hit the crack blunt?
Only if it has meth in it too.
Come on, baby, you know me. I appreciate it, man. You make it so much easier to do what I do. If I ever, stall or run out of something to say for a minute, all I have to do is look at the comments, and it's amazing. I'm shocked to see how many people like want to get exposed. I can't imagine they actually think they're smart with the things they're saying. And especially once, they've said the same thing several times and it's just backfired. Like it's just fascinating to me. Can you imagine if I was like, no, my weed's great. Like I gave a shit what you think of my weed. I'm trying to have big boy conversations about you dumb Jays and how how the Goyim need to rise up, unify, and overthrow the slave masters. And you guys want to talk about me. How funny is that? I want to talk about the world, me and my big ego. I want to talk about the world and how everything works, and you fucking idiots want to talk about me. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Like it's it just you if that's all, like seriously, if everything that I'm saying, the only thing that you can focus on is my hair, my sideburn, my weed, you're telling me I'm right. If that's all you can do, if that's all you can debunk, if that's great, thank you. Understand that these Team Jorge fucking pieces of shit, they're everywhere. They are everywhere. And their whole purpose is to try to make you into the dumb Goyim you're supposed to be. Let's see what it says. A goy. In modern Hebrew and Yiddish, goyim, is a term for a Gentile, a non-Jew. Through Yiddish, the word has been adopted into English, plural goyim or goys, also to mean Gentiles, sometimes in a pejorative sense. Gee, that's weird. It's Yiddish. It's not ancient Hebrew. The biblical Hebrew word goy has been commonly translated into English as nation. You see what I mean? It's us and them. That's how they see it. So as goy goes, it's the nation. It's everything that isn't them. Meaning a group of persons of the same ethnic family who speak the same language, rather than the more common modern meaning of a political unit. Again, to them, we all speak the same language. It doesn't matter what we speak. It's not their speak, so it doesn't matter. To them, we are all family. That's the craziest part. That's the thing that you guys just don't understand. While they have us, foolishly thinking we're all different and we're all, we hate each other because of your skin color or your belief or your whatever, they see us all as one nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it. One nation, and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now. I mean, it's here. I'm reading you what it means. I'm not making this shit up. It's literally here. If you're not us, you're them. Cats, dogs, chairs, tables, beds. It's all goy. In the Bible, Goy is used to describe both the nation of Israel and other nations. The nation of Israel. The land of Israel, the nation of Israel, the state of Israel.
State of Israel. That's one of the bugs of fuck out of me.
Well, that's what they refer to themselves as now. In history, they were the land of, or they were the nation of. But now,
But weren't they a star on our flag?
now they're a state, and the only way that makes sense is if they're talking about the state, like the state of Kansas, the state of Michigan, the state of Israel. And it makes sense because, it's why they have, they just got the visa waiver program, a week before, like September 30th of 2023, a week before they started the genocide with the fake false flag bullshit on October 7th where no Israelis died or were taken hostage. They put themselves in the visa waiver program despite not meeting the requirements and blatantly saying they weren't going to meet the requirements. But the Jays in office here were like, yeah, well, we have faith that you will meet the requirements, so we're just going to let you in. And the visa waiver program is just what it is. They don't need a visa to come here and travel and they are basically like another state. And when Bezalel Smotrich, it's either Bezalel or Itmar Ben-Gvir, but I think it's Bezalel Smotrich, was responding to something Biden said earlier in the year, maybe it was late last year, but maybe early this year, I'm not sure. He said that Biden should shut up and mind his own business because Israel is no longer a star on the U.S. flag. Now, that seems like a pretty specific thing to say that's not like, why would you say that, but you didn't mean it, you meant something else? It doesn't make any sense. Go ahead and look at everybody on here right now, right? You'll get dumbasses that'll post the Israeli flag or whatever. Are they going to actually debunk anything I say? No. The only thing you're going to see is like you always see, where they tell you you're not supposed to talk about it. Shut up, Joe Biden. You're not supposed to talk about this. Just keep giving us money and weapons and horrible shit. But that's how they see us. They don't see us as worthy of even explanation. So they just say, shut up. Just don't talk about it. And they try to bully people into not talking about things. Because they know as soon as we start talking about it, as soon as we start looking into this whole J conspiracy, it's obvious. You'll see it. There is no denying it. My wife, trust me when I tell you, my wife does not like what I do. When it was Jesus and all that, she could tolerate it. But if it's because she thinks it's dangerous. But she only thinks it's dangerous.
Would be a totally different story too.
She only thinks it's dangerous because she knows. It's not like she's saying, stop talking about this, it's fake. Why are you wasting your time? And trust me, like at first she wasn't on board. Like, she's on board, she just doesn't like it. And doesn't believe that it can be fixed. And that's just where we're different. But like, this has been my fight for a really, I don't know when you've heard me like waver or anything like I've been fighting this fight for a really long time. This cult is disgusting. They are disgusting. The fact I was bullied and manipulated into circumcising my children, it disgusts me. It's one of the two regrets I have regarding them. The other one being letting us get bullied into giving them the first rounds of shots. I feel really shitty about that. I know we did it the best way we could do it, and we had a fight on our hands. You know,
We got fired from a doctor.
we got fired. Yeah, the doctor that delivered our kid wouldn't see us because we wanted. It's not like we didn't want vaccines. We wanted just didn't want the full shot.
The 3-in-1 dose.
Right. We were like, can we just do it? You know, can we come in 3 times and get the 3 separate doses instead of giving it all at once?
So it's spread out.
And the doctor fired us. Fucking the guy that was there when our kid was born, the immediate pediatrician, fired us. And we had to go to a place called Covenant, which was a religious place, because that was the only place that would allow us.
We had Medicaid, and so Medicaid cuts the list of available doctors down. And then out of that list, you have to find those that are willing to allow you to waive the vaccines, which isn't even.
But we weren't even there. We weren't even there yet. We were only looking for the ones that would let us do the 3-dose vaccine. And repeatedly they wouldn't let us. So finally we go to this Covenant, this religious one, and they say they'll do it. So then when we get there, they're like, so, you know, we're going to schedule you for the vaccine. And we're like, yeah, we're going to do the 3. And they were like, you know, we don't have the 3 on hand. And you would have to come back 3 different times. And, you know, it's a big hassle. And we're going to have to order it and all. And we were like, yeah, okay.
Order it.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll do it. And they were like, are you sure? I mean, it would be so much more convenient. And it's like, don't you make more money every time we come back here?
I mean, clearly they don't.
No,
No, clearly they don't. Clearly they get such a kickback.
Right.
For forcing the 3-in-1 dose versus doing it separately.
Great point.
So no, it must outweigh the 3 office visits they get to bill.
Because 3 office visits is a lot of money. They're billing a lot of fucking money. So, like, you would think they would be encouraging us to all do it that way. But like she said, and I never thought of it that way. That's a great point. You know, that's the only thing that makes sense.
All these pharmaceutical companies, that's what people don't realize. When you see those pharmaceutical reps walking into your doctor's offices and they're, you know, and you're thinking, oh, cool, they're going to bring up some new innovative, you know, it's not. Those are all a bunch of fucking
salesmen.
More so. It's more, they're brainwashers.
But they're salesmen. They're car salesmen. That's
blackmailers.
A lot of the times, the people that are the best reps, like, it's all the same pool of people. They were waiters at one time. They were, you know, they sold this. They sold door-to-door meat. You know, and eventually they got themselves into the pharmaceutical, and they were, oh shit, this is where the big bucks are.
Every single drug your doctor offers to you is money motivated. If they are recommending this drug over this drug, it's because this drug is paying them more to do it. It's like in the mortgage brokerage world. I had, you know, hundreds of lenders available to me, but I had one company that's no longer in existence, Equivantage. They were phenomenal. Their rates were maybe an 1/8 higher, sometimes not, than the other companies. But because of the volume of business we would send to them, they would give us 3% off the bat for free. So when I would go assess a customer's deal, every single time Equivantage was going to be the first one I looked at because they're going to pay me the most money. And not cost my customer any money.
It's going to, because we have a a self-sustaining motivation, you know, self-preservation. If Equivantage best rate is 4.25, but she could find 4, you know, this company has it for 4, but they only pay 1. It would be foolish of her to give you the better rate and screw herself out of those 2 extra points.
Unless I had a very savvy customer that was doing shopping.
Whatever. We don't need to go into. You start talking about mortgages and she's going to start going. It's just the way You pull the cord. I'm just saying, the way that the system is set up, it's set up so we screw each other. So it's set up that way. And that's how it is across the board. And you're not supposed to think that way. You're not supposed to understand that you're not supposed to, like, you're a bad person if you ask for the ingredient list for the vaccine. Why would that be a bad thing in anything? Like, you would do that with everything else. Most things are required to have the ingredients listed on the side, to some degree at least. But, you're not supposed to think this way. You're supposed to think like, oh, I don't want to be a hassle. Oh, I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Well, the doctor he knows. He's a lot smarter than I am. You know what? Let's do this. You guys. Oh, wait. I want to finish reading this. As a word principally used by the Jews to describe non-Jews, it is a term for the ethnic out group. The ethnic out group. An ethnic out group is a group of people which does not belong to a particular ethnic group, religion, or nationality. Many cultures have terms referring to all outsiders, but in practice, this often becomes narrowed to the largest outsider group. Outgroup terms are sometimes, but not always, considered to be derogatory. The meaning of the word goy in Hebrew evolved to mean non-Jew in the Hellenistic minus 300 to minus 30 and Roman periods, right? We know that stuff. Are you kidding me? Thinking we know what happened 2,000-3,000 years ago, whatever. Like, that is so fucking arrogantly stupid. It is stupid. You guys are letting stupidity override your common sense. The greatest achievement known to man, going to the moon, leaving this planet and going to the moon. 6 times, I think, right? 6 times. You would think it would be like, oh, here's the engineering of mosquitoes. It's fucking insane. You would think, oh fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Oh well, not really worried about it. Right. I mean, it's this idea that we would know. Oh yeah, you would think that we would have well documented everything that had to do with going to the moon. By 1969, we had plenty of cameras and all sorts of documentary equipment. And we did it 6 times, supposedly. And yet, the proof, the telemetry data, and all of the data that actually proves how we did this, not the what, how we did it, we lost it. Nah, we lost it. I mean, people lose things. What the fuck? It's been 50 years almost. Over 50 years. It's almost 60 years now. You can't expect us to fucking know everything from 60 years ago. Are you kidding me? We know, but we do know the evolution, the meaning of the word go evolved to mean non-Jew. We know that happened between minus 300 and minus 30. We know that for sure. Yeah, we lost the going to the moon stuff, but we know this J stuff. We know this. This all makes sense, doesn't it? During the Hellenistic and Roman periods, as both rabbinical texts and then Christian theology placed increasing emphasis on a binary division between Jews and non-Jews. In modern usage in English, the extent to which goy is derogatory is a point of discussion in the J community. It's a point of discussion in their community. What about us? What about the fact that when I hear it, I know it's derogatory? And I think it's fucking disgusting. How dare you say that about people? We're not allowed to run around calling people niggers. We're not allowed to say fag. And we shouldn't be. Those are, well, I mean, really, I don't care. Words are words. If you get upset about words, you're an idiot. But still, if you're going to say that this word or that word is bad, but then allow goy to be used, it's pretty crazy. The word goy is sometimes used by white supremacists to refer to themselves with signaling a belief in conspiracy theories about Jews. Right, so one of the big issues is when we adopt it. When we say, fuck yeah, like, I'm all about Team Goyim. Team Goyim is my hashtag. And I've been pushing that shit for years. Because I'm proud. I'm proud to be one of all of you. While they sit here and they're one group, and they look at us as one group, I look at us as one group. Why don't we learn from what they're pushing on us? What I wouldn't give to have Michael Rappaport's dumb bitch ass come on here and start talking his shit. Funny how he was in the news, like he was all over the place for like a minute at sort of the beginning of the genocide. And he put this one video out where he says, he's singing this song, if you hate Jews then you know it, say Zionist. If you hate Jews then you know it, say Zionist. If you hate Jews then you know it, but you're too afraid to show it. If you hate Jews then you know it, say Zionist. And then he laughs, and he shows that he's in Israel in some penthouse overlooking, an area that's not being destroyed. He's the guy that went to was brought to the college campus. I can't remember if it's Columbia or whatever one it was, where he trashed them. And he was saying, we need to go get our hostages out. They're ours, like they're American hostages. We need to go get our hostages. And anybody that protests against what Israel is doing is protesting against Jews themselves. And, they say it. Seinfeld said it. What's his name? The critic. John Lovitz said it. And for a minute, they kept interviewing them and showing them. And you would see it, too, when it came to, like, the protests. You would only see the one side. Like, only Jewish kids were getting interviewed. And they would talk about how, well, no, we haven't actually been attacked or anything, but we don't like what people are saying. And because we keep going to these protests and then not liking what they're saying, it's making it more difficult for us. And then, like, the one time I saw them interview somebody on the protest side, the one time, it was clearly a plant. It was some dumb girl that was like, I don't even know why we're out here. Why are we out here? What are we even protesting about? Hinting that us dumb goyim, we're just protesting because other people are. We don't really know what we're doing. So, the word goy means nation in biblical Hebrew. In the Torah, goy and its variants appear 560 times in reference to both the Israelites and the non-Israelite nations. That doesn't even make sense. How would you know which one you're talking about? Now, in reference to, by reference to, does that mean the Israelites calling people goys? Because it just doesn't make any sense. Why would that work? The first recorded usage of the word goyim occurs in Genesis 10:5 and applies to non-Israelite nations. Non-Israelite nations. Were there lots of Israelite nations back then? Think about what I'm reading here. And of course, I encourage you guys to read the comments and read how desperately stupid people like Kevin are, who they don't like us. Like, you would think they would support us. If there's nothing wrong with this stuff, if there's no negative usage and anything like that, why wouldn't you want me looking it up and proving that I'm being ridiculous, right? Because I say it's negative and this, that, and like I'm looking at it from one point of view, and I'm reading the official account. I'm reading what I'm supposed to know. So why would that upset you so much if there's no, there's no negative here? I should be able to read it and walk away from it going, oh, I was mistaken. It doesn't mean anything bad. And hey, everybody, the Jays are great. Shouldn't that happen? Shouldn't you be encouraging that to happen? Funny how the Jays never seem to want us to talk about good or bad. They just want us to shut the fuck up. I mean, I look at myself. Myself is the example. Knowing that I feel like I'm cracking this code and I'm actually finding the truth. I'm compelled to talk about it. I'm compelled to go live and say, okay, this is what I think. If I'm wrong, tell me. And then, if you can show me how I'm wrong, then I won't think this way anymore. I really don't know, like, as far as like a good person, as far as a smart person, as far as a, somebody that is trying to be their best. I really don't know what else you could do. I mean, reading what they want you to read while live, so anybody that wants to chime in can chime in. I'd love to know how that's supposed to not work. Like, what else? What else could I be doing? What else should I be doing? If you want to know the answers to things, how else do you go about it? I know it's hard to find the information online. So because it's hard to find absolute information or believable information online, I end up going live and saying, okay, anybody that knows any more than what's already being said, by all means, open forum, go right ahead. And yet, instead of that, you get totally straight Kevin, who is a dumb J himself, but is just obsessed with my mutton chops. I guess if my face was clean shaven, then he'd be able to have a reasonable discussion. But he's going to come in every day crying about how I look instead of addressing what's being said that's wrong. And I mean, I don't even know how you can say anything being said is wrong, considering I'm reading what I'm supposed to read. Yeah. Oh, no, I have no problem shouting out dumb fucks. These guys are pedos. I want everybody to know Kev's a pedo. Naomi's a pedo. Like, all of you fuckers, you guys are pedos. There's no doubt about it. Most of you are fake Israeli bots. You're Team Jorge, but most of you are J pedos. If you weren't, no, I don't hate everyone. I just hate the Jays. Kev is laughing so hard at being called a pedo, like most of us do, right? I'm sure you're a pedo. You're Y-O-U-R, AJ. Uh-huh. I want everybody to have the identity of all the pedos on here. Please keep outing yourself. Hopefully, if people know you in real life, they handle the situation accordingly. We all know how I feel about pedos. Look at this. Not one of them is denying being a pedo. Normal people, if you were to call them that, they'd be like, what the fuck? Fuck you, dude. Blah, blah, blah. Those people should be killed. This, that, and the other. Not this group. This group thinks it's funny. Come on, pedos. Keep outing yourself. Boy, you sure are hurting my feed by saying dumb nonsense. Let's see. The first recorded, the first mention of Goy in relation to the Israelites comes in Genesis 12:2, when God promises Abraham that his descendants will form a Goy Gadol, a great nation. Again, that's so different. There are two exceptions where a kingdom of Goyim is mentioned. One is in Genesis 14:1, where it states that the king of the Goyim was Tidal. Bible commentaries suggest that the term may refer to Gutium. The other is in Joshua 12:23, where a king of Goyim in Gilgal is included in the list of kings slain by Joshua. In all other cases, the meaning of Goyim is nations. In Exodus 19:6, the Israelites are referred to as a Goy Kadosh, a holy nation. Again, you see what they're doing there? You know, it's one or another. When they're referring to themselves as one group, as nation, then it's a Goy something or other. That's so interesting. One of the more poetic descriptions of the chosen people, and that's actually blue, chosen people, in the Hebrew Bible is popular among Jewish scholars, is Goy Ehad Beratz, or a unique nation upon the earth. In English language Christian Bibles, nation has been used as the principal translation for Goy in the Hebrew Bible. From the earliest English language Bibles, such as the 1530 Tyndale Bible and the 1611 King James Version. So the earliest versions of the Bible are from 1530? That's interesting, don't you think? The Tyndale Bible. Isn't it strange how something can exist? Like, this thing supposedly happened 2,000 years ago. And yet for 1,500 years, there's really nothing. There are some early mentions of things around 900, in the 900s, supposedly. Which means for about 900 years, nobody was talking about it. And for another, 600 plus years, nobody thought to put it together in some sort of book, some sort of Bible until 1530. Let's see. I just want to see the Tyndale Bible. Generally refers to the body of biblical translations by William Tyndale into early modern English, made circa 1522 to 1535. Tyndale's biblical text is credited with being the first Anglophone Bible translation to work directly from Greek, and for the Pentateuch Hebrew text, although it relied heavily upon the Latin Vulgate and German Bibles. Furthermore, it was the first English biblical translation that was mass produced as a result of new advances in the art of painting. The beginning of the Gospel of John from a copy of the 1526 edition of William Tyndale's New Testament at the British Library. That's how books were made back then. Again, it's just like everything else. The buildings, the aqueducts, pyramids, everything we're shown from back in these times was so much more impressive than what we do now. And to think like this was mass produced, that's pretty incredible. In the beginning was the Word with an E. It looks like add that Mord. I don't. Oh. And that word was with God, and God was that word. THATT. What? So the first that only has one T, but the second that has two T's. The looks like fame was in the beginning with God. I don't know. Beginning has Y's. BEGYNNYNGE. All thing THYNGF. It's an F. It's not an S. All things were made by it, and without it was made no NOOTHIGE. Nothing that was made. In it was life, LYFE, and life was the light of me, and the light. I mean, I can't even read it. And the light, it looks like this with a Y, and NETHIOARDINES. I don't know. And it's again, it's a. I mean, this is supposed to be English. This is the first English Bible translation. What the fuck English is this guy speaking? How did this get this way? I mean, how did, like, this is really weird. Whole name. There was a Mephent from God. Whole name was John. The lame at. I mean, seriously, look at that writing. I mean, it's really hard to read. It's really weird. I can't read what it says. To bear witness of the light that all men through him GHT believe he was not that light, but to bear witness of the light that was a true light with lighteneth all men that come ito the word. I don't know what that. It's like a weird. It's like a 5, but it's turned like this. 5e. Is that he? Oh, maybe that's he. It was the word. He was the world. It looks like WOZ, but it's tilted like that. LDE. I think that's world. I don't know. And the world by him was made, and the world knew him not. And I mean, it's like a F, capital F, but it has a weird little thing on the bottom too. UEWE or FNEWE. Again, I don't even know what the hell this is supposed to be. It even has like a little picture too, but like right next to that, this. Oh shit. It's a picture. I don't know. Something into his AWNESAD. I don't know what the fuck. And received high not. V pi s to as many MENY as received high gave he power to be the ones of God. I that they believed, oh his name. WHID. Weird. I don't know. Ooh. Bronze, not of blonde. NO2 of the will of the. I guess that's supposed to be flesh. FLE. That weird F that is somehow like you see it in a lot of old text where it's supposed to be S, but it looks like a weird F. FLEFFEH or HE, so I'm assuming that's flesh. Not, I guess NO2 is not yet of the will of men, but of God. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw the glory off as the glory of the only begotten Son, SFONNE, Son of the Father. Wow, that is weird. The Gospel of Sansit. I guess that's a J. John. The is that fifth? FY. Wow, that is weird. Printing the Bible in English was prohibited in Britain, so William Tyndale, around 1494 to 1536, traveled to Germany to have his translation printed there. Because Germany had the printing houses, and they knew that in Britain. And, like, it's like, how did they, to think this guy knew, he was in Britain, it's the 1500s, the early 1500s, and this guy knows what's going on in Germany, and he's in Britain. And he wants to get a book published by the publishers of the day. Like, think about what were the publishing houses of the 1500s? What did they look like? That's silly. I mean, think about like what you think about the 1500s in your head. What does the 1500s look like in your head? And then think about, like, because I'm thinking about the 1500s and I'm thinking like, remember in the beginning of Braveheart when they lived in like that fucking mud shack with the thatch roof and shit? Remember that? That was like the average person lived like that, and then somehow they built castles too. But like that's what I think about when I think about the 1500s, like log cabins and shit, right? Like you don't think that the pilgrims and shit came over here and started building skyscrapers, even though that's sort of technically what happened. Not really sure how, but it did. By the way, if you're watching, don't forget to like, share, and sub. You also get the free download after the fact. I'll put the link in the description after the fact. www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG-group.com. Ask yourself why there's so many people mad. So many dumb Jays are here and they're mad because I'm talking about this stuff. Just ask yourself, people. The answers are pretty obvious. Why would anybody be mad at somebody trying to learn something? Other than because they're dumb Jays and they want us Goyim to be fucking stupid. All right, let's see. It was first published in full in Worms in 1526. Never heard of a place called Worms. And offered ordinary people apparently authoritative access to the New Testament in everyday language. This was regarded as a danger to the established church, and Tyndale was burned at the stake in 1536. Why would the church be like, this is the thing I never understand. If yours is the right one, why don't you encourage people to question it so they can get the answers they need? If yours is the right one, you shouldn't be worried about the other, the challengers. If it's good enough, we'll steal it. So if yours is right, you don't have to worry about somebody else coming in. And it's the whole thing about like you letting people get you down, you letting people talk shit and being offended. I'm offended by what you have to say. That guy called me a nigger, so I'm supposed to fight him now. Like, it's all just stupid. If you give a shit about what other people say, you give them power over you. Why would you give people power over you, especially people you don't know? Like, Again, all the shit talkers on my feed, all you do is prove to me how important I must be. Nothing you say bothers me. You know, if I don't look right to you, especially all you dudes out there, if you like your dudes with shorter hair and a clean shaven face, I'm sorry. There's plenty of dudes out there for you to go oogle that have that. But literally, there's no bad publicity. Nothing you guys do or say offends me or bothers me, or why would it? In my mind, you could be doing anything else in the world right now, and instead, you're hanging on my nuts because you hate me so much. Boy, that makes sense, doesn't it? While you're actually proving all of my points in your with your dumbass comments. I mean, it's just so... It's so impressive. It's so... it's so telling. And you're just too stupid to realize it. And I fucking appreciate it. I'll never, be upset by it. His translation, however, was not included in later editions of the Bible, most notably the King James Bible. This story of Tyndale's New Testament belonged to Anne Boleyn, King Henry VII's second wife and mother of Queen Elizabeth. Oh, this copy. This guy had this big-ass Bible published. This was mass-produced in the 1500s without the church's blessing? What sort of publishing houses do you think existed back in the day that could pump out copies of this book? I mean, guys, how do you not hear that and go, that something ain't right? Something ain't right. Why ain't this working? Like, you just go, 1500s, we were building structures that still exist to this day that we can't seem to duplicate. We were traveling all over the world. We were, everybody seemed to be in communication with each other. Though the pyramids were lost. We didn't know about the pyramids at that point. Those weren't rediscovered until like the 17 or 1800s or some shit. I don't remember. But we were like, we knew it all. We were good. The Piri Reis map shows Antarctica from back then. And it wasn't frozen or something, like. It's not like this shit's conspiracy theory. This is all the shit with history. This is real. This is all real history. You don't need to be all distracted by reptilians and alien UFO drones and, crazy devils and demons and multi-dimensional beings and all that. You don't need all that shit. Just look at what they want you to know. And see if all of it makes sense. This is fucking stupid. I just, my stupid head does not understand how you make books that big in the 1500s. And remember, like, all of the writing is really intricate, and all of the pages have illustrations on them and doodles, and not just like the big picture. They also have these little micro pictures down at different places for some reason. And think about that, man. That is some crazy shit. What is this? Oh, is this him? No, that's Hans Hobler the Younger. Hans Holbein the Younger. Well, how is that your name? And of course, like, look at this. This is how people dress. This is all you ever see of people from back in those days. Sure does look cold, doesn't it? Doesn't it look cold? You ever notice how in every ancient picture you see, it's like the people are dressed like it's freezing outside? Go look at all the oldest photographs you can find, and you have people walking around in full coverings, head to toe, even at the beach, almost like they're scared of the women are walking around under lace umbrellas. It's like everybody's scared of the sun and they're really cold. Wonder why that is. I mean, if you think about women swimming in ocean water or even lake water in big long dresses and shit like that. That just makes zero sense. Rip tides and all that shit. You got a big fucking, basically like a net hanging off of you. You think that doesn't have holes. It's just gonna pull you, like it just, our historical narrative seems to be so manufactured to me. And stupid. Like you have to be stupid to believe it. The term Tyndale Bible is not strictly correct because Tyndale never published a complete English language Bible. Before his execution, Tyndale had translated the New Testament, the Pentateuch, and now lost, the historical books of the Old Testament. The historical books of the Old Testament. The historical books are a division of Christian Bibles, grouping 12 in some denominations. Books of the Old Testament. It includes the former prophets. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Okay. But they were lost. How did they get lost? Funny how that works. But we have all that J stuff from minus 300. Of the Old Testament books, the Pentateuch, Book of Jonah, and the revised version of the Book of Genesis were published during Tyndale's lifetime. I mean, just again, this guy is sitting in what? Where is he sitting? Is he in like one of these giant buildings we were capable of building back then, or was he in his little shit hut? And he's sitting by like candlelight or whatever, and where did he get his translations from? What library? How did the library get all the books that it had back in the day that he could then go get his copies of whatever he wanted and then bring it back and how did he learn to translate these things? Like, and this guy's doing multiple books like that? What are we accepting here as people? This is just like, it's silly. It's like, it's silly. You how are you not insulted by this? This is why I just, my trolls always, it kind of drives me crazy. Because it's like, why, if you're really just trolls, just having a good time, why aren't you trolling like news organizations or government organizations and trying to get them to get someone like me on and then debunk everything I say, make me look stupid? Like, when you start realizing that, or do you? I don't even know if you do, but you start realize, I assume, you can use the computer and stuff. You have to have a reasonable level of intelligence. That you can hear what I'm reading you and you understand it. I'm not making it up. So this is the official sort of narrative we're given. And you also know it's a bunch of pedos. It's a bunch of people who support and protect pedos. Like, it's all associated. And so much of is said today, the claims, the pedos, the the J stuff, it's all nonsense, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're actually looking into it all. We're actually delving deep. And we're getting like evidence after evidence showing you it's wrong. So at what point do you go, maybe I'm a paid troll, whatever it may be, but you go, you know what? People paying me are using me, and once they're done with me, they're just going to discard me like they do everyone else. Like, it's time to make those changes. I just don't get it. I don't get why anyone would want to keep things going the way it's going. I don't even care. If you're rich, you could be rich as fucking hell, and you live a great life, and you eat fucking caviar for breakfast. Who gives a fuck? Ugh. Why anybody eats fish eggs is so gross. You have been brainwashed like a motherfucker if you think fish eggs are some sort of delicacy. Because, it's like salty and fishy and it pops in my mouth. Ugh. Nothing like cold, wet, soggy fish. So gross. But, like, if you see all this shit, like, where is your humanity line as opposed to I'm just this, that, and the other? And like I say, even if you're rich and you got the caviar breakfast, I mean, how do you sleep at night knowing there's a genocide happening? I don't. It doesn't affect me. I don't have any family. I don't have any friends. I have nothing to do with it. But knowing that it's happening keeps me awake. It bugs me. I think about it all day. And the more I look into all this shit, and then I see how it's not like anybody's happy. Even the people that you would think should be happy, they're not. They're bitching about something. And if they're smart, they're bitching about, things that actually matter. Like, we all know about FEMA camps. Why aren't we like, violently protesting FEMA camps? I don't understand that shit. Why are we just all okay with there being FEMA camps and we know it? It just keeps going across the board. Like, none of us would let our kids go to Hollywood without us. Why? Because we know about the casting couch. We all know about the casting couch. We know this shit exists. It's not, it's not some theory or some fantasy or whatever. We know the casting couch exists to the point where we would all prevent our kids from going there. And yet, we're just okay with it. As long as it doesn't affect me or mine, I don't care. We all know, every single one of us, if I say the word pedo, I say it fully pedophile. I say, okay, I'm going to say a word. You tell me the first word that comes to your mind when I say this word. If I say pedo, if you're honest, priest will be one of the first words that comes to your mind. Because we all know that the church consistently rapes children, not and little boys especially. We all fucking know it. They came out with the story in 2018 that in Pennsylvania, 6 of 8 of the dioceses, so like in each state it's broken up into different dioceses. So, each state has its own number of dioceses and they're controlled by, it's just like any other mafia organization. And it was found out that 6 of 8 Pennsylvania dioceses were just so rife with pedophilia. It was insane. And they were finding that that consistently guys would get caught violating a child, and instead of getting in trouble, they would get sent to Oregon or to fucking Wyoming or some shit. They'd get sent across the country, often to get caught again and then get sent to the Vatican or sent somewhere else and then sent to the Vatican. But Pennsylvania was this, it was just every single 6 out of the 8 were just, it was like 100%. And the only reason it wasn't 8 of 8 was because the other 2 were the Amish communities. And the Amish communities, for some reason, are allowed to just be like separate communities in the United States. No, nothing wrong there. And it's one of the biggest hotbeds for pedos is in the Amish community. Just like in the Mormon community. Mormons are just as bad. We know it. They're just as bad. We all know. They literally made a show called Escaping Polygamy that was about this group of girls that escaped polygamy and then were basically trying to rescue as many people as they could to break them out of this. They made a fucking TV show about it. Why does that exist within, the walls of America? Why is Scientology a thing? What's his name? The leader of Scientology. I forget his name. It'll come to me. His wife hasn't been seen in fucking like 2 decades. Nobody knows whether she's alive or not. Like, it's not confirmed. McTavish. His name's McTavish. Something McTavish. I think that's right. Craig McTavish or something like that. No, that's the hockey player. But like it is like the stories, Leah Remini came out and said it. There's tons of people that have come out and left Scientology, and they talk about the abusive practices that are used and the bully practices and the prisoner. It's just unbelievable what is done to these people. And that's allowed to exist. What are we doing? What are we doing when we're allowing religious freedom to oppress people? Because they were fucking foolishly brainwashed into it. Escaping Polygamy, if you haven't watched that show, it's almost like you're getting punked while you're watching the show, right? Because you're watching it going, okay, like the police are just going to come in and bust us up, right? Like you're showing, this isn't real. It's fucking real. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. And we let this all happen. And again, it's because it doesn't affect me. And it does. It all affects. Like, everybody that doesn't think Israel affects them. We give them $3.8 billion a year and well over $18 billion since October of 2023. You don't think your tax dollars could be better suited here? My number one thing is that we start a government pedo hunter program that can do what thousands of other regular people seem to be able to do and bust these pedos left and right. So to start an extremely well-funded pedo hunter program, I would assume it wouldn't take $3.8 billion, but it definitely wouldn't take that much to run it. But at least initially, getting that going and then using that money. I think a living wage paid to spouses, to house spouses, is so much more important than you've ever even thought of. You've never even thought of it. You've never even thought of it. You ever wonder why you see so many old ladies working at Walmart as greeters, barely able to stand, you know, doing these and you're like, why is this old lady working? Because her fucking husband died. And when her husband died, all of his benefits and all that shit just got cut off. And this woman who, you know, she wasn't working outside of the house. She was maintaining a good, happy household, raising children, you know, keeping her husband in good working order so he can go out and make that money. She was an equal part of this, or he, if it's the other way around. And yet when the spouse dies, they're fucked. They get nothing. All the benefits get cut off and shit. So why aren't we giving them 40 hours a week minimum wage? If you're a house spouse, you get 40 hours a week minimum wage. Don't you think that would better suit our economy? Don't you think that would make lives better? Right? Wouldn't that be more of an incentive for women to not go get a slave job and to just raise your children? Nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom or dad. Yet you've been convinced that that's somehow worse than going out and getting a slave job. But no, you know what? We should give that money to Israel instead so they can murder people, right? That's a better use of it. Or drug programs for people, or homeless vet programs. What about all the vets that are killing themselves every fucking day? That number is insane. What about a fentanyl thing? What about something to crave this fentanyl that's killing almost 300 people a day? None of that's better use of $3.8 billion or 18 plus billion dollars since last October. None of those things would benefit our society more than giving money to Israel to murder people. Are we like absolutely fucking insane? And again, look at these comments. Who other than dumb pedophile Jays would be in here saying these dumb things? Literally, it's only dumb pedophile Jays that think like that don't think, hell yeah, we need to fix these problems. As long as it's killing off Goy, they don't give a shit. Let's finish this up. The remaining parts... Oh, wait. The Old Testament, blah, blah, blah. His other Old Testament works were first used in the creation of the Matthew Bible and also greatly influenced subsequent English translations of the Bible. The remaining parts of the Old Testament, including the historical books, the Psalms, and the wisdom material, prophets, and Deuteronicals, were completed by Miles Coverdale, who supplemented Tyndale's translations with his own to produce the first complete printed Bible in English in 1535. So check this out. This book was printed in 1534. This is one of the mass-produced Bibles from back then. All of those, this illustration is just one of the small ones. All of the pages have illustrations on them. Multiple, mass-produced that, right? 1500. See, it's shit like that where I put that to you, and you are too smart to be like, well, maybe. Blah. You go, no, it's just bullshit. So then, what do you think was, like, that's where Tartaria comes in. That's where the resets come in. That's where, it's like, obviously, we were much more capable back then. And it's like dominoes from that point. The chain of events that led to the creation of the Tyndale Bible, New Testament, possibly began. And we know that the Jays, adapted the word goyim to mean nation between minus 300 and minus 30. But we don't really know when this book in 1500s was. Yep. When Tyndale acquired a copy of Luther's German New Testament, Tyndale began a translation into English, also referenced by referencing the annotated Latin Greek text compiled by Aramis from several Greek manuscripts with text then thought to predate the Latin Vulgate, whose Latin gospel translations owed to Jerome, but whose epistles came from Old Latin versions. Like, okay. So again, it's the 1500s. Where were these translations just like did they have a big library?
Oh yeah.
And then how did the library get stocked with books? And then so they would take their horses to the library and then tie their horses up and go walk around in this big library like lit up by candles and shit. I mean, what are we talking about here? How are these? I always wonder how the people are doing. How are they using where were they getting their? It's like if you're my age and you remember what it was like to do book reports back in the day and how fucking you had to go to the library, you know, the Dewey Decimal System, you had to know how that shit worked. And it doesn't. It's fucking stupid, but you had to know it. And then you had to know microfiche. You ever try to use microfiche? God, that shit was difficult. Like any little movement would, and you'd lose your fucking thing. But prior to computers, I mean, the library, you're like, I'm here to do a book report on Christopher Columbus. And they're like, all right, here's our 18 books on Christopher Columbus. You know,
fuck that. There's the card file. Go find the books.
Right. Well, right. But I mean, but I'm just saying, there's, you know, maybe 18's generous. Maybe like 5 or 6 books. Probably the one you're supposed to use is checked out. But it's like there's very little information compared to what we have access to now. You couldn't just pull up the Wikipedia and then go from there. Even your encyclopedias were as old as they were printed. And shit changes, you know, all the time. I mean, I know the history book I had is the same history books that Zach Morris and them had. It was tan, and it had history in red across the top, and it had like a roller skate and like a bunch of different pictures on it. And that book was, you know, it was like, I was like the 5th person to get that book. You know, these history books we would get, you'd be so happy to get a new book. But you'd have to, you know, fold up your brown paper bag to go over it. But, you know, a lot of times you'd get the book that, you know, I don't know, 10 kids had. And you think like that information was, the, you know, good thing we were in history class and we weren't covering shit that happened 5 years ago, because it's not going to be in the book. And it's just, it's like now we have such access to so much information and we don't use it. The Vulgate was the only Latin translation in use by the Roman Catholic Church, but had accumulated a multitude of small variations between hand-copied manuscripts. Despite several small variations between hand-copied manuscript, should be scripts, despite several regional efforts over the millennium to make a definitive text. Tyndale made his purpose known to Aramis's collaborator, Bishop of London, Cuthbert Tunstall, who declined to finance the project. Thwarted in England, Tyndale moved to the continent. Okay. I mean, just think about this. Again, this is not only, like, we know about this failure. somebody was writing it down and like, okay, so we got to make sure that on the Wikipedia page, 600 years from now, 500 years from now, that they know that he talked to Bishop of London, Cuthbert Tunstall, who declined it. Yeah, we know that. A partial edition was put into print in 1525 in Cologne, of which there is only one fragment left in the British Library. But we know it was done. I mean, understand how ridiculous this is. And the way they make it sound, they're just like, oh, it was in Cologne in Germany, and then he was in here, and then he went over there. And it's like, how were these guys traveling like this? How did they know to travel? This guy's walking around like kicking a stone, like, damn it. Look, Bishop of London, Cuthbert Tunstall denied it. And some guy was like, come here. I heard what you are saying. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you go to Germany, they will publish it for you. And he's like, well, thanks, guy. Why did you tell me that? Oh, I don't know. I just thought you might like to party. You like to party? Like, how did he know? Oh, yeah, I'm going to jump on my horse right now and just ride on over to Germany. Who should I say sent him? Like, it's stupid. He then goes to Germany and he's like, hey, I'm new in town and I don't speak your language. But can you direct me to the nearest publishing house that'll publish my big ass fucking book? What? Like, it's just stupid. What are we talking about? What publishing houses existed back then? How did they exist? Like, Heinrich. Oh, man. Don't want to go to work today. Goes and clocks in and then goes and sits at his desk and he's like, I hate this job. Gets all the way down to the bottom. Oh, no. No, that's another 4 hours down the tube. Because, you got to be like, make it all pretty. And then now he's got to crinkle that shit up and throw it out. Like, what? How quickly? Right. How quickly are they fucking producing pages back then?
Your quill. I don't know if you've ever tried to write with a quill. I have.
No, wait. Do you know if I've ever tried to write with a quill?
I have.
Right.
Really fucking hard.
Right.
Really hard.
I would assume so. It's probably even harder to draw pictures with the quill on the text that you've just read. And it has to be perfect. Like,
they used to make their own quills out of feathers. I've made quills out of peacock feathers.
Look at this.
It's really
look
fucking
at this.
hard.
This is the page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they even have, like, if you look right down here, like, this is a little mini painting right there.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that by quill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how are they mass producing books?
A lot of people writing.
It just doesn't.
The same handwriting.
All have the same handwriting.
Perfect. Symmetrical.
Yep. All the same pictures.
Because I don't know if you've ever written a paper, but if you look through all of your A's, they're going to be similar. They're not going to be the same.
Especially in the beginning and the end.
It's just not going to be the same.
Like, you'll always be able to tell what parts you were fresh at, and then what parts you were been writing for an hour. Your hand was hurting.
Yeah.
But just this is what you're supposed to believe. Like, guys, make it make sense.
I also need you to pick them up early. You gotta pick them up by 3. Just 'cause it's early.
Like, think about this shit. My mom. No, that's my ugly, stupid wife, remember? Come on. The Impossibles. That's my shit right here.
Hi. I forgot to tell you, Guy is going to pick the boys up at 3, so 25 minutes early, because Nathan and I have a gathering this evening.
So have them ready or there'll be a problem.
So have them ready or there'll be a problem. He's joking. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Perfect. Thank you, love. All right, have a great day.
I'm pretty sure he's of Jewish descent. You know me. You know there's all those Jews out there that are constantly bashing the Jews.
That's hilarious.
You've seen them, right? That's funny.
That's funny.
You've seen all those Jays out there constantly bashing Jays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything I'm talking about, all this controversial shit that you obviously know nothing about. You know, this requires reading, and this requires, extra, not just sitting on your ass fucking trolling. This requires research and education, intelligence, of which you're not really capable of. But I just can't say it. Like, first of all, like, share, sub, but I can't say how fascinating it is. It's even more it's just as fascinating to me. I mean, I cannot think you're real. The only way it makes sense is if you're either an agent, an Israeli government agent, whatever, or you're just a bot. But I just cannot wrap my head around you're such a loser that you hate me and watch me every day. That part is just so, And the fact is, like, even if you were a loser, like, weirdo, you'd get mad and deny being a pedo. You wouldn't want to be called a stupid J pedo. But you guys would, you guys like that. So I mean, it's so fascinating to me. I wish somebody could explain it. Bitch ass Brian Wallace used to talk about it, but then every time I'd be like, all right, dude, just explain. Like, what's the funny? Help me understand what it is. Why you focus on truther pages and try to get truthers to stop talking about things. Like, what's the funny part? Especially the idea of coming to my page where, like, I'm grateful you're here. Like when it's Christy Moreno's dumbass and she gets all upset, starts yelling and gets all frazzled. I get it, I guess, but I just still, I can't, like, I don't have that much time. I'm going to get on my phone. I'm going to look for somebody doing anything, like anything. And I'm going to get on so I can make fun of them and try to get their attention. Like, what? And it'll have nothing to do with what they're saying. I just want attention. Like that, you're like the people that laugh at people with Down syndrome. Like the kid with the Down syndrome makes the video where he's lifting weights and you're like, hey dude, check this out. This is hilarious. Look at this guy lifting weights. Like, oh, look at the noises he's making. Oh my God. So you're one of those people. And I guess I just don't understand that. I don't understand what that is. You're the type of person that'll see the fat woman, fast walking, I was going to say running, fast walking down the street. And you're like, hey, fat ass. And like, she's like, fuck this. I'm not putting up with this, and goes in the house, and she was all motivated, and you killed it. You're that type of person. You're the type of person that gets real desperate. You know, the black guy has you bested in something, so you scrape the bottom of the barrel, you nigger, like that's supposed to do something. And really, unfortunately, because of that MK Ultra programming, it often does, but it doesn't work out in your favor. You know, you get beat up. Like it's just weird. You know, I mean, like the one the one kid, the dumb J Kev. This will be his third shout out, and everybody's like, "Yay!" He said Kevin's name 3 times, calling him a pedo. What? That's your goal, is to be called a pedo? That is some weird shit. And like the only way I could understand trolling, and I guess I'm guilty of this to some degree, is if I happen upon somebody's video and they're saying some stupid shit. And so I go and I'm like, hey, you just said this or you just said that, blah, blah, blah. And I try to, like, if I watch a video on YouTube, you can always tell because it'll have 50 comments on it. Because I'm always pointing out things or talking about things in the video. I don't understand the other side. Like, that to me, as goofy as it is me being like, ha, I showed him. I pointed out what he was getting wrong. But to not even try to do that, that's the part I just don't understand. I wish somebody could explain it. Maybe I'm just too old, I guess. But at the same time, if the base of it, if like the foundation of the thing was to try to interfere with truthers and try to stop people from talking about, you know, the J conspiracy, the Hollywood pedo shit, the government pedo shit, you know, like that's the last place I would go. If I was gonna troll, I would troll news. I would troll newscasters and you know, bug them as to why they're not covering genocide, why they're not covering Shirina Buakla's death, why they're not, you know, why they're so complacent, knowing that they probably work for those same people that go to those Bilderberg meetings and shit. Why don't you guys say anything? Is it really just so you can benefit? You don't care about other people? Like, I would be trolling the shit out of them for that. And, you know, if the goal is a reaction, then you get it from them. Like, Roop Raj called the police on me and had the sheriffs call me to tell me I wasn't allowed to send Roop Raj emails anymore. I've sent him emails. And I asked them, well, why doesn't he just block me? And then I can't send him emails anymore. That's not how it works. I'm like, yeah, that is how it works. I'm allowed to send people emails, especially if they're public figures. The sheriff was so mad, but what could he do? It was like the one time the sheriff's called telling me I wasn't allowed to talk about my kid's school. That kicked him out because we didn't want to be there for the nativity scene. Like, that's some fucked up shit what they did. And I was talking all about it. And the cops called me, told me I wasn't allowed to talk about that school anymore. I was like, shut up. I'm going to talk about that school all day. And I'm going to talk about this phone call now. Thank you. And they were like, eh. It's all really obvious, people. It's really obvious. So you need to go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg, BILDERBERG -group.com. Go get it. A company is selling a Christian Ouija board.
Did you see it? It's an infinity sign.
Oh my God.
It's so cheesy.
It's brilliant. I wish I would have thought of that shit. Go get your free download. Put a 0 in the payment box. The link is in the description, along with a link to our Facebook page. If I'm not live there, here, I'm live there. So go get both. Go follow the page. Go listen to the music. I promise you, it's better than anything you hear right now, and it's unlike anything you hear right now. I can honestly say we make unique music. So go check that shit out. Otherwise, have a great day, and you pedophiles, kill yourself.